The, the Nevis Construction Company, Fort William acted as unwitting complice in a cruel description that the majority of people in the town were never even aware of as the post-Great War depression was beginning to bite and many men lay idle, desperate for employment. The artless conman chose the town he thought had treated him so unfair to be the central figure in his elaborate rush to tell the full story of John Slevin. However, we must start in Ireland during the patio famine of the 1840s. The slave family were notorious in Ireland. John's father and uncle had narrowly escaped a death sentence following a robbery in Tipperary in 1842. Other brothers, uncles and cousins had been involved in in assaults, robberies and frequent arrests for drunken fight and branches of the peace. John Sullivan was born in 1855 and like so many others travelled across the Irish Channel to Scotland. Searching for work he landed in Greenock around 1872, still aged only 17, and was almost immediately in trouble with the law. He was arrested twice in Cathcart Street for being an unlicensed peddler, and on both occasions chose a 7-day prison sentence in perfection to a 15-shilling fine, where he was fed and warmed. By the summer of 1877 he had migrated to Dundee, where he once again found himself on the wrong side of the law. He had no fixed residence, sleeping rough and stealing what items he could in order to buy food and alcohol. During 1877 he was charged on 4 separate occasions for robbery, the most bizarre being the thief of doormats. Slaven walked the length of Four Bank Road, King Street and William Street, removing doormats in order to sell them. He received a 60-day prison sentence. During the next 10 years, John Sullivan appeared in court and was jailed a multitude of times for arrest, drunken violence and robbery. Most serious of all, he was charged in 1887 for an attempted murder while working on board a ship. Slevin stabbed the man in the stomach, but was able to show in court that he had been defending himself against a violent attack. Anxious to move away from the Glasgow area after having just been released from another 14 days incarceration, this time for an assault at Garvishaw Station in Coatbridge, Slevin arrived in Fort William in late 1887. His steamer landing alongside the pier on Loch Linnhe, he was soon arrested for begging in the street. By 1892, there was a prospect of employment within the local area on the construction of the West of a West Island Railway. The work would be arduous and dangerous in cold, and for forgiving terran slaves, it appears did not seem interested in and physical toll and following yet more changes of vacancies slipped away from Fort William during a scalp fuel outbreak in 1894, following the father stabbing of a fellow Navy, Bernard Uggs, at the Blaring-Berth mine near Dunfermline in 1897. John Sullivan once again narrowing avoid a prison sentence as it could. 1897, a prison sentence as it could not be proven that he was the one who delivered the fatal blow, and he was released without charge. For a subsequent period of time following this accident, Slevin continued to work as a Navy, helping in the construction of mines and tunnels in the Fife area. However, following the Allied theft of a lady handbag on a train to Edinburgh, slaves appeared to have absent after arrest. Perhaps he thought Fort William far enough away to avoid detention, and maybe a polygamous period without a prison sentence was to his taste. In any event, he reappeared in Fort William in 1907 to find the recently opened railway station now serving the town and the High Street, lit by the country's first electric street light. There was a hustle and bustle in the town. The railway had helped bring new employment to the area. Now 52 years of age, he still did not seem to mind the difference of the vacant life. Instead of seeking employment at the King Lochleven Dam works, he joined a group of tinkers, tramps and peddlers that congregate in the High Street, begging and selling items to passers-by. After more arrests, he would once again disappear, although he would never return to Fort William. The town would play an unwitting part in his last great money-making scam, the Great War in 1914, and although Slevin was too old to be conscripted into the army, the work on the coalfields of Fife and Lancashire became vital, and he was once again able to find employment in the mines. Despite the unforgiving and dangerous nature of the work, Slevin continued to labour in the pits until well into his 60s, although he was arrested for a drunken Francis in 1923. Until well into his 60s. He was arrested for drunken France in 1923, during which he violently butted and punched another man. His life seemed relatively trouble-free on this occasion. He even chooses to pay a 60 shillings fine rather than face the alternative short prison sentence. Nevertheless, a sentence accident in a tunnel in 1926 saw John Slevin seriously injured. He was unable to work in any capacity at the pits and spent 6 months in hospital, relating a room in Aberdeen down to his last 30 shillings and failing in a claim for the new means. Tested employment benefit slave divider scheme to enhance he would not need to work again. He took out the following advertisement in the Fife, Dundee and Perthshire newspaper. Labour's a few respected men wanted for work in the islands must pay fees, accommodation provided apply starting nature or preserve employment to agent Seco White, 44 Blackfriars Street, Aberdeen. The mystery weight and the address in Aberdeen were in fact slaving landlady and his own lodgers. The slowdown on the economy that meant the industrial heartland of Scotland was awash with men unemployed and desperate for work, all willing to travel a long distance to secure employment and all willing to pay their own expense to get there to those who replied to the advertisement, and there were a large number of slaves sent back the following fraudulent letter from an intelligence company. The Nevis Construction Company, Littered Fort William District. Your application is at hand. You are requested to forward 10 shillings part fare, which with you endorsed application will be dispatched to head office. With head office who will send you railway vouchers and companies engaged card and also travelling purchases. Wages to compensate will be paid at the rate of 1 second per hour. Work is railroad and building construction. And is guaranteed to yard 4 months continued employment. You must be prepared to travel within 14 days and you are warned not to do so without the company's engaged card. It is necessary that you should reply within 2 days to a Montgomery Wait 44 Blackfriars Street, Aberdeen. By the end of January 1927, at least 69 men had returned the part train fare to John Slevin. The fraud was completely cruel and heartless, one preying on men who were desperate for work, even to the point for paying a portion of their own travel costs. The unlucky man sadly never received their engaged cards from the Nevis Construction Company Limited, somewhat so taken in by the matter of fact and realistic tone of the correspondence that they actually travelled all the way to Fort William, convinced that their letter had been delayed in the post or lost it. Is it heartbreaking to imagine a group of tired, hungry and disadvantaged workmen arriving at Fort William railway station on a bitterly cold February day, looking for the Nevis Construction Company, only to be met with wild expansion from locals as they earnestly assumed then that the company must exist. We have received a letter from them. Unfortunately for John Slavery, the crime was easily resolved by the authorities. His correspondence addressed in the advertisement led them straight to him. He had no he had not even had the time to spend his legal forgotten games. Slevin was tried Aberdeen Shelf Court on February 9th, 1927 and entered a plan of guilt in this respect. First one, a sound defence in which Slevlin's illness and accident were cited as reason for his desperate actions. Shelf Lang was in no mood for levity. Your fraud was a very cruel and hard one, the people probably sending all the money they had. There is absolutely no excuse. I have no hesitation in sending you to prison for 12 months. There was not and it never has been a thought. There was not and never has been a Nevis construction company littered in Fort William. Their questions remain unanswered. Firstly, how did Slevin construct such elaborate and convincing letter, and did he receive any assistance? Perhaps his landlady was complicity in the fraud. After all, the letters would have been received by her at 44 Blackfriars Street. They also seem to exhibit a style of offence, very offence, not offence, very out of character with John Slavin's previously precarious at the trial. She denied any knowledge or involvement in the offence. Lately, why did Steve Slaveland choose the name the Nevis Construction Company, and why Fort William? Perhaps the name was suggested itself to him during the long days and nights spent on the street begging, looking up at the mountain range behind the town. Possibly he also thought it fair enough a way that unemployed workers in Fife and Dundee would be unable to check the details. Finally, constructible, he thought it might be an opportunity to extract a tiny modicum or revenge on a town that had treated him as sympathetical as he would have wished. Doing this to make my good. Where you say what your videos about, my videos about craft, in attempt to grab the viewer's attention, you want up to be as short as possible. You have 5 to 15 seconds. Grab the viewer's attention before they click off and watch someone else's video. Introduction, say who you are, Mark's album, and give any additional information. My spread shop and buy me coffee is back section of my channel. Right, to your video or video purpose. the intro, detail, branding, maximum craft, intro, detail, branding, maximum craft, statement outlines, or any other need to know info to review a playlist. What's my full playlist, please? Give a little bit leading the way. Scripting is important. People in the right place are in the right place. After body of the video, the content of the video. This is what the viewer clicked your video to see. Bulk information. Bulk info must break up by me coffee about section by channel. Call to action. Ask a viewer question, yeah. I'll do it. What's this video from start to finish? My goal is to get to 50k subs. My goal is to get to 50k subs, and I want 30k likes on this video, please. Subscribe on this video, please. Like, share, hit the bell, click on my thumbnail, please. Watch this video from start to finish. Thank you for comment.